Hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning to all. It's Tuesday, April 21st. It's about 4:30 in the morning, break of dawning, and we'd like to thank you guys for tuning in here at Humanity Unplugged podcast one more time and again. I'm your host, Jermaine McCrimmon. Today is a beautiful day. Great weekend. Hopefully everyone have their health and strength, moving about, taking care of their business. Kids are doing good in school, and parents are doing great at work. We have good news, and also we have bad news. It goes hand in hand. In our country, we can say that things have changed, and we'll get into that. But hopefully, to all our subscribers, all our media followers, excuse me, all over the country, all the continents. We thank you guys, for downloading and for sharing our material through all the countries and continents. We give you the most respect. For our first time listeners or our long time listeners, we thank you for tuning in one more time. Take off your shoes, kick up your feet. I have a goodie for you today. And hopefully you start your day off right. You got you some rest. You didn't stay up too late watching the basketball um, or any hockey because that has started. Hopefully you guys have got your rest and you now are moving forward in your life this early Tuesday morning. Excuse me, I'm not going to hold you long, but I got some information for you you might want to take in consideration and share it with somebody else. I don't know why my camera's acting up, but somehow today it want to act up a little bit, but we'll go with it. So when we look into today's topic, mass shooting in Louisiana, it's not the only topic. It also will be about some scientists missing. We have 13 scientists that have been missing since 2025, and maybe a few that might have died in 24 initially. The first one, I believe, that's been missing or got killed is in 2023. And the reason why I'm mentioning these scientists because they're in charge of UFOs and strange phenomenons and things happening in our world. They're in charge of stuff like that. They do nuclear research. These guys have high profiles. They have top clearance, and we need to talk about why they are missing and what happened to them, perhaps. Also, in the mass shooting, we have a lot of young teenagers. Actually, these are young children, 8 kids murdered by their father, allegedly. This happened, and this is very disturbing. The father allegedly snapped and he killed everybody, shot up the mothers as well, and 8 kids, I believe 7 of his own, are now deceased, unalived. This is a big tragedy in our world, not just in Louisiana. So we want to talk about that and see what might have happened that may have caused this. It's early, but they're still doing the investigation. But it's always good to touch bases with people about this so you can keep in mind and your whereabouts on your children. I'm quite sure mental health may have played a part in this, and we need to forever put awareness on that. And the final thing that we will talk about today is the mass arrest that happened in Georgia, Atlanta. I believe in Atlanta. I don't know if it's Georgia per se. Clayton County, I believe, 80 people were arrested. That's going to change some things by the U.S. Marshal, not by cops, U.S. Marshals. So they got some stuff on these guys and girls, and they're going to be going down. Now, it's unfortunate that this is what it's come to, but people lives are at stake, and bullets don't have names on them. So we need to cut down the killing, the drug dealing, and all the gang related issues that come with that. So we're going to look into that as well today. So as I said before, take off your shoes, kick up your feet, get you something cold and refreshing. Perhaps you might want to get you something hot if that's what you care for. Excuse me. I'm drinking water today, which is strange. Normally I would have me a coffee. I like my coffee. But we're going to do some water and we're going to get right into it. So the first thing we're going to talk about, I don't know. I don't know which one to talk about first. Let's see. Let's talk about the kids dying, these young youth being murdered by their father allegedly. Here we go, guys.
Now to some heartbreaking news. Our nation saw its deadliest mass shooting in years when a Louisiana man shot and killed 8 children this morning. Tonight, we're learning more about that gunman, Shamar Elkins, who was the father of 7 of those 8 slain children. Tonight, the community of Shreveport has been left shattered. The children, 3 boys and 5 girls, ranging in age from 3 to 11.
Police say the crime scene spans 2 houses. It ended when officers opened fire on the gunman during a police chase. Eyewitness News reporter Tim Pulliam is live now with new details tonight. Tim?
Liz Jory, we now know the names of the 8 kids shot and killed, and we're also...
I just want to tell you guys before we get deep into it, more than 8 people were shot. 8 kids were killed. All right. The mothers of these kids were also shot. So it's about 10 people shot, 8 killed. Here we go. Let me rewind it a little bit. Here we go.
Liz Jory, we now know the names of the 8 kids shot and killed, and we're also learning that the shooter had ties to the military and was known to police. This is the Facebook image of the Louisiana man law enforcement believe is a cold-blooded killer. Shreveport police identifying him as Shamar Elkins, the alleged gunman who shot and killed 8 kids. At least 7 of them were his own flesh and blood. The coroner released their names, a total of 7 siblings and a cousin ranging in age from 3 to 11, Jayla, Shayla, Kayla, Layla, Markaden, Soraya, Kedarian, and Braylon.
Now I'm going to go back so I could see the ages for you guys. The ages is 3, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 6, and 9. 3, the age of 3, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 6, and 5. Shot and killed.
Kedarian and Braylon. Neighbors mourn their deaths at the crime scene.
This is not a freaking joke. This is real, and this is the result when someone snaps.
Police are still trying to determine what motivated the shooting. The attack began before sunrise when police say the suspect shot a woman at one home and then drove to another house to unleash more violence.
The gray house is the house in which 7 children were located inside that were deceased. There was an additional deceased child that looked like he had tried to escape the residence out the back on the roof.
Officers say a second woman was shot and is believed to be the mother of the suspect's children. Both women are now in the hospital in critical condition. Officers fired at the suspect during a chase after he carjacked the vehicle at gunpoint. ABC News reporting the 31-year-old joined the Louisiana National Guard in 2013 and served 7 years without being deployed. The shooting took place in House Speaker Mike Johnson's district. He offered thoughts and prayers to the family. The shooting impacting people beyond Louisiana. The mayor of Shreveport highlighting that in his statement that reads in part, "Tragedy like this does not belong to one family alone. It belongs to all of us. Today, our community is grieving the unimaginable loss of innocent children. There are no words that can make sense of it and no distance that shields us from it."
Take out this evil out of our nation, out of our parish, out of our city, out of our lives, God. We know mental illness is real, God.
This attack considered one of the deadliest mass shootings in Louisiana. The community asking for prayers.
This community needs you. I need you. Because how do we get through this?
I want you guys to know that, children getting killed, man, it's just so sad. And we all have kids, and some of us may have little kids, the one listening all over the world and the continents. You guys might have little kids. And it's even worse when the little kids just die like that, get murdered. What would you do? How would you feel? This affects everyone. It affects all our community. It affects all of us around the world. This is it's a sad day, man. It's really sad to hear this.
According to the FBI, domestic violence crimes are up. Between 2020 and 2024, law enforcement reported more than 11,000 domestic violence murder victims. In this case, investigators are still trying to figure out what led up to this shooting.
So as we get out of this one, and you see, we don't know what led up to it. They still don't know. They're doing an investigation, and these children will never come back. They're gone. The parents got to deal with that. You look, as a mother, could you imagine what she's going through? The mothers of these kids, the father, took them out, the grandparents. This is something devastating to our community, to the world. This is the largest mass shooting ever in Louisiana. And it comes from the state of it also being children that died like that. Just little kids, so innocent. They don't know what's going on at that age, they just getting hit with a bullet. And it's ferocious. Cops end up ending the man life, the father life. They killed him. And you got no answers when it's that, and we only can say what may have happened or what could have happened, but we don't know. You don't know what took place to have the father snap like that and make him take out that type of pain on his own kids. That's something that's unheard of. You don't hear that every day or even every week. You hear a father hurting someone else for doing something to his children, but not him doing the bodily harm to his own kids. And my prayers go out to that family and everyone that suffers from mental health, because mental health, as I keep going over issues and different topics, mental health is serious, man. And we have to understand what's going on with that and how can we help someone that might have signs of mental health. And I did episodes of this, and I've done it over and over and over. But guys, we got to stay on top of it. Reach out and talk to someone. Don't be alone. If you got these bad thoughts, try to reach out and talk to someone. I didn't want to share it, but I had to share it because mental health plays a big part in that. We're going to go over to the U.S. Marshals, and we're going to see about that, because this is something to hear about the arrest made in Atlanta. Here we go. Actually, I think it was in Georgia, which is still Atlanta, but not the city of Atlanta. Here we go, Georgia.
A major crackdown in Metro Atlanta means dozens of dangerous fugitives are off the streets tonight. U.S. Marshals and local law enforcement teamed up for a massive 3-week operation in Clayton County and surrounding areas, making nearly 80 arrests and seizing guns, drugs, and cash. Now the big question is, will it make a difference in crime? Fox 5's Tyler Finger is at the live desk tonight with the details for us. Tyler?
Yeah, Russ, good evening to you. Officials say this was a targeted effort to go after what they call the worst of the worst. Now they're monitoring the data to see if this makes a real impact.
A major operation led by the U.S. Marshals targeted violent fugitives across Clayton County and Metro Atlanta. The headline, 78 arrests in just 3 weeks.
I think it has a large impact on crime in Clayton County. These were all violent offender arrests.
Investigators spent weeks building their target list. They focused on suspects wanted for crimes like murder, armed robbery, and other violent offenses. When they moved in, they say they found more than just people. 46 illegal firearms, 57 pounds of drugs, and thousands in cash, all seized.
There are too many guns on the street and too many drugs on the street, and this is because there is a lot of violent crime happening.
The U.S. Marshals worked with a number of local law enforcement agencies, and officials say this kind of operation is designed to have an immediate impact simply by removing the worst of the worst. Some of the suspects were tracked down outside Clayton County.
I think you're going to see an immediate reaction in that those individuals are no longer on the street. They're not out committing crime. They've now been arrested, and they're just not there anymore.
But the real test comes next. Over the next 90 days, analysts will track crime data, watching closely to see if violence actually drops.
The Clayton County Police Department will take lead on analyzing the crime data over the next 90 days and see how much crime has dropped in that amount of time.
While dozens are now behind bars, authorities say the job is far from over.
There are high-profile fugitives in Clayton County and also in the other areas around Metro Atlanta that we're still actively working.
The U.S. Marshals say they do these types of sweeps multiple times a year, and they are already working to track down the next group of fugitives. Now all eyes are on those numbers and whether this crackdown leads to a real drop in crime.
Well, hopefully this will help the Metro Atlanta area and people in Clayton County. And other areas are still affected by this. You know, drugs travel. So the hot spot might be Clayton County, but they could supply all over. So when you stop Clayton County, of course, rates will go down. Statistics will drop down because the source, you take out the source, you know, this is not, you know, nuclear physics. This is easy. Knock out the source, get rid of the people that caused the problem, the rates go, everything, statistics will drop. Now, the problem with that is other people will want to jump in that slot and try to fill in that slot. So the next thing is for you to start knocking down the wannabe ones. I hate to say it, but every day a new one is born that want to take over the world selling drugs. Every day. The fast life of making money is always there, and people look into that because they feel it's a way out. So we have to look into stopping that narrative, you know, pushing out other resources in the community for kids to get into. Now, they didn't range and tell us the ages of these individuals that are arrested, and they said 78, and I know I said 80, but we got to understand that making these arrests and putting them in jail without rehabilitation is something that's going to happen over and over and over. They get released, they do the same thing. They get released, they do the same thing. So I want you to know that you got to have some type of program in place to help these kids, these young teenagers, these young adults to be rehabilitated where they're able to function in the community. Now, once you get this arrest on your jacket, how are you going to be able to do that? Because once you get arrested, you know, you're stained. It's very hard for you to get a job. I don't even think you can go to the military once you get arrested. So I don't know. But I think it's things they got to do, you know, things they got to talk about. Programs got to be in effect. And with Trump at the helm, what programs are available for inmates? When they're cutting back on funding, what programs are available for people to be rehabilitated if they're in these type of situations? What trade schools are available for convicts? What options do they have? These are the things that need to be talked about. These programs need to be in effect and available, or it's just a recycling program just keep happening over and over and over to the same people. It doesn't change. Nothing changes unless we put in effect for change. It's sad. Change will happen on the streets, but there'll be a new man on the street tomorrow. Somebody else trying to do the same thing and take over where the ones who just got arrested left off. We got to break these habits and these behaviors. Here we go, guys.
A cluster of cases, a surge in questions, and a lot of very online conclusions. Over the past 3 years, a series of deaths and disappearances involving scientists in the United States has drawn increasing attention. Why is that? Because of the pattern they appear to form. Many of the individuals were connected to nuclear research, aerospace programs, or high security environments. And when those worlds overlap with unexplained incidents, the story tends to grow quickly. The names at the center of this mystery are Melissa Cassius, a scientist with security clearance at the Los Alamos National Laboratory, who vanished in June 2025. Anthony Chavez, a retired Los Alamos worker who went missing in May 2025. Jason Thomas, who led the chemical biology team at Novartis, who first went missing on the 12th of December 2025. His body was later found on the 18th of March this year.
Now, everyone there that she's naming are either dead or missing. And they all scientists, profile jobs, high profile jobs, government clearance, things like that. Everyone she's naming. Pay attention.
Frank Maywald, an engineer at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, who died in 2024. He was known for his work on advanced space instruments. His death was reported without a public cause or autopsy. Nuno Loureiro, an MIT physicist, was shot dead in December 2025. Carl Gilmer, known for exoplanet research, who was shot dead on the front porch of his home this year on the 16th of February.
I just told you guys they all had high-profile jobs. I just told you guys they had top secret clearance. I just told you guys these are not normal people. So they don't have no reason why they're getting shot. There's no reason why somebody's coming to his door, shooting him on his porch. This wasn't a mistake of identity. He was assassinated. He was killed.
Number 7, Stephen Garcia, linked to a company producing non-nuclear components for U.S. nuclear systems, who went missing on August 28, 2025. Reports say he served as a property custodian, a high-level role that reportedly granted him top security clearance and oversight of hundreds of millions of dollars worth of equipment. Monica Jacinto Riza, an aerospace engineer who disappeared while hiking on the 22nd of June 2025. Michael David Hicks, a NASA research scientist in the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, died on the 30th of July 2023. And then there is one of the most closely watched cases, retired Air Force Major General William Neil McCaslin, a former commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory known for overseeing sensitive, high-level airspace projects, who vanished from his home in New Mexico on the 27th of February this year.
He vanished from his home in New Mexico.
His phone, his glasses, and personal devices were left behind, but this is where it gets interesting. His wallet, hiking boots, and a .38 caliber revolver were missing. Now, investigators noted he had reportedly experienced mental fog before vanishing. His name, it's important to note, had also surfaced years prior in emails released by WikiLeaks, where he was referenced in conversations about UAPs. These are unidentified anomalous phenomena. That detail, unsurprisingly, has done a lot of heavy lifting online. His family, however, has firmly rejected speculation that he had any knowledge related to alien material. The conversation and speculations have now spilled beyond Reddit threads and forums and have now reached the president. And that is not surprising. As per the president himself, Donald Trump.
I want you to listen to what Trump says about this, guys. Listen to what Trump says. Just incredible. Just listen.
Trump. These were important people overseeing important projects. This is what he said on being asked if these cases are linked, and I'm quoting. He says, "I hope it is random, but we are going to know in the next week and a half. Pretty serious stuff, hopefully. I don't know, coincidence, whatever you want to call it. But some of them were very important people, and we're going to look into it." So Trump says we should have answers soon. Meanwhile, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt acknowledged these reports, stating that she had not been briefed yet, but if accurate, the matter would warrant investigation. So at the moment, the official position is this: being looked into, but not yet explained. Here's where things get complicated. Individually, these cases fall into similar categories: violent crime, accidents, health-related deaths, missing persons investigations. There is no single confirmed link tying them all together, but collectively, they do share similar professional backgrounds, proximity in time, and connections to sensitive fields. And that is enough to create the sense of a pattern, whether or not one actually exists. At this point, the discussion has split into three broad tracks. Number one, coincidence, the most evidence-supported explanation. There are thousands of scientists working in nuclear and aerospace sectors. Over time, unrelated incidents can cluster in ways that may feel meaningful, may not be satisfying for the online theorists, but statistically plausible. Number two, security concerns. A more serious possibility is whether individuals in sensitive roles could be targets. Now, it isn't a stretch to speculate that scientists linked to strategic programs could be of interest to foreign intelligence or corporate espionage networks. However, there is currently no public evidence suggesting a coordinated campaign behind these specific cases. Not yet. Number three is speculation, of course. There is the part of the internet that has connected this to classified programs, hidden breakthroughs, and UAP-related research, which is fair. This is largely driven by McCaslin UAP connection and broader conversations around UFOs. And it doesn't help when we hear statements like this one. Listen to this.
As we convene here, UAP are in our airspace, but they are grossly underreported. These sightings are not rare or isolated, they are routine. Military aircrew and commercial pilots, trained observers whose lives depend on accurate identification, are frequently witnessing these phenomena.
That was Ryan Graves, a former U.S. Navy pilot who has become a leading voice on unidentified aerial phenomena. He said this during a UFO congressional hearing back in 2023. But just to be clear, currently, there is no verified evidence linking these incidents to UFOs or extraterrestrial claims. So what is the real story here? This is unfolding at a moment when governments are discussing UAPs more openly. Declassification is a public issue, and trust in official explanations is, at best, selective. But this is also not a completely ordinary story, far from it. It sits in that uncomfortable middle ground where enough has happened to raise questions, but not enough to answer them.
So now we're looking at this, and this was a great segment. I'm happy I was able to put this inside of our episode, because I've just heard about these scientists, coming up missing. And now when you look at it, it ain't just a random act. This happened. Something's going on, and we need to get to the bottom of it. Now, if I was you and you worked with Navy or nuclear warheads, or you work and it was top secret information for the military, you're a scientist, you're an engineer, you need to know how high you are. And when it gets thicker than normal, you should have a gut feeling from work and when you doing work. When you're working in an environment that is not normal, and it could cost you your life. And I don't care how much you in love with work, you need to know when to say enough is enough. How far am I going to go? A lot of people may have confusion around that theory. A lot of people may not realize that their life that they live and where they work at, they are in danger. No one is expendable. We have to understand that these things happen and been happening for years to people that work for military, allegedly, Secret Service, allegedly, high profile. It's all like that. I just want you guys to get a better understanding that things like this is common. That's why you haven't heard of it. It is common. It almost go with the job. So in closing, in conclusion, I want to talk to you guys, and I want you guys to understand this ain't the last time, and this ain't the first time people been missing. It's just coming to light a little bit more because of the time span. 2023, 2024, 2025. A lot of people coming up missing in 25. A few came up missing February 26 is one of them, one of the major guys. So I want you to know this is serious. So we'll keep an eye on this. We're going to always keep an eye on the drug game and how it affects our community. We'll see what happens with that. Our prayers will go out to these families. Mental health is the key. We have to do better. Unfortunately, this is a continuing issue with our life just living. Mental health. People snap. People go through a lot of different stress, and it's not easy. So I don't know. How could we help? How can we fix it? If you got any answers, please, any questions, hit me up in the email. Hit us up, comments on the shorts. Let us know how you feel about these episodes and the information you're getting. I'm your host, Jermaine McCrimmon. This is Humanity Unplugged podcast. Guys, stay safe. God bless. Peace.